3.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am here with Judge Martin Valbuena. He is currently magistrate judge and he is running for re-election. He does have some challengers this year, so that gives us the opportunity to actually get to know Mr. Valbuena without having to get to know him inside the court. It's better to meet him this way. I don't really know a lot about the judicial system, and for me, that's a good thing because just haven't had to be in it. So you're going to explain to me a little bit about magistrate court, what their function is to the county, and also some of the procedures. I understand that y'all use now that may be new to people if they haven't
Sure.
been to magistrate court. And something very important too is that y'all raise that cap. I did not realize. I still thought it was like a $5,000 limit, and it is 15,000. So
Yes.
some changes since last I inquired about it. So tell us a little bit about, what you do.
Yeah. Well, in magistrate court, we have two kinds of jurisdictions: civil jurisdiction and criminal jurisdiction. For the civil jurisdiction, we handle all of the landlord-tenant cases, the dispossessory cases. If a landlord has a tenant that's not paying the rent, or a tenant has a landlord that's not keeping the property up as they should, those cases come to magistrate court. And also, we get any case that if somebody wants to file at magistrate court as a small claims case, statement of claim, if it's for less than $15,000, we handle those. So several years ago, probably back in the mid '90s, the limit was only 5,000, but that's been raised to $15,000 now for probably a little more than 15 years, and it makes it so it's no longer just small claims. There's some sizable cases that come through now.
So do you think y'all are seeing more cases because of the raised limit, or is it basically about the same?
I think we're seeing more because of that. We're also seeing more because 2 years ago, the General Assembly raised the filing fee to file in Superior Court from about $108 here in Paulding County or $107 to $257. So it's an extra $150 to file in Superior Court. And they didn't raise the filing fees here in Magistrate Court, so you can still file a case in Magistrate Court for $71 or $101. So it's significantly cheaper. So we've seen a number, with the economy, we've seen cases go up, but with the filing fee difference, we've seen cases go up too.
Okay. So I've never had to file one, and we had talked earlier about some changes that have been made, and people can actually file online. You like to explain to people how that works?
Yes, there's three ways you can file a case for magistrate court, a civil case, either a dispossessory action or a statement of claim. You can come into the office and fill out the paperwork there and file it, or you can mail it in, fill out the paperwork at home and mail it in, or you can file online. And we do that at Paulding.com. You go online, you can fill out the paperwork, through clicking and filling out the boxes, and then you pay with a credit card, and there's a $20 convenience fee that the company collects. It doesn't cost the county anything for us to have the online filing, and so we've had that since I think back in 2003, maybe early 2004. We've had the online filing. We're the only court in Paulding County that lets you do that.
That's great. I like that. I like the convenience of doing things online. Do you think that the word has gotten out enough that that people can now do that and use that service?
Our percentage of cases filed online continues to go up. For about the first 4 to 5 years, it's been fairly steady since then. So I would say we started out with maybe 10 to 15, 20 cases a month being filed like that now. Now we have about 350 cases filed per month. We did about 43 or 4,400 civil cases last year, and I would say about a third of them were filed online. So it's not the majority of them, but it's a significant percentage now.
Yeah, I was kind of joking about how much you probably appreciate these nice typed out forms instead of in people's own writing. Do you find yourself up there stuttering trying to figure out how the name is pronounced?
Not too bad. Usually
Yeah.
people, I guess when they get it, if they're going to do it by hand, they think about it and make their handwriting pretty legible. And my handwriting's pretty bad, so
Doesn't hurt to get on your good side, right? Where they can read it. So, y'all also work with the marshal's office when people get citations for you know junk in their yard, for littering and that type of thing. Um, how many of those cases do you see, and what type of citations do y'all generally get in the magistrate court?
Yeah, let me back up a little bit.
Okay.
Because I'd said that we have criminal jurisdiction also.
Oh, okay.
And for criminal jurisdiction, the first thing we do is we sign all the arrest warrants and search warrants for the most part for all the county's law enforcement officers, whether it's the sheriff's office, City of Dallas, City of Hiram, Braswell, if they need something
Okay.
every once in a while. And then once the person is arrested and they're in jail, we do the first appearance hearing, which explains to them what their rights are, and we set their first bond. Unless there's certain crimes we can't set the bond for, Superior Court judge has to, but we set probably 95% of the bonds. And then if they stay in jail, their defense lawyer, if they get a lawyer, may ask for a preliminary hearing. And we handle all of those things on the criminal side. We don't handle any of the arraignment or trial portion of that.
Right.
What we do have arraignment and trial control over and jurisdiction over is misdemeanor bad checks and county ordinance violations.
Okay.
And that's what the marshal's office does. They hand out the county ordinance violations. There's really two kinds of county ordinance violations, the ones that deal with animal control and then the ones that deal with junk vehicles, litter, no business license, zoning violations, tall grass, things like that.
Okay.
And so we do handle both of those.
So I'm going to ask you why. Why would you want to be the magistrate judge instead of, because I know that you do have you have private practice. I'm sure it's not full time with all of your other duties. So what do you get out of being magistrate judge? And I know as a lawyer, I know it's not the pay. You're a lawyer. It can't be the pay. So there has to be something that you get some type of satisfaction out of being that. So can you explain to people why?
Yeah, when I first graduated from law school, I went out to Colorado and I worked as a law clerk for Justice Howard Kirschbaum on the Colorado Supreme Court. And from that, I got to see how the part about being a lawyer works from behind the bench, from the appellate side. And he had been a trial court judge, and talking with him, it made me really like the idea of being a trial court judge. And then as my years of practice went on, it was something I always thought about and always thought I would enjoy doing. And when the opportunity opened up back in 2002, I applied, and Judge Foster and Judge Beavers, selected me to be the magistrate judge, and I've loved every minute of it. It has its challenges,
Yeah,
especially in these trying economic times, budget-wise. We've had some difficulties in making everything happen and get done. But the job itself, I truly, truly enjoy.
Well, that's good to know, and I'm sure a lot of people just really didn't think about the fact that you would have to, if you pass the bar, that you would be sitting as a judge because you enjoy it, because you get something out of it, because it really ultimately does not pay as well as private practice does for a lawyer.
That's correct.
So let's talk a little bit about the human side of your job for a minute, and what you are seeing with people in the community that are getting some of the citations and that type of thing. We know that the economy is tough. Sometimes the lawnmower is broke, or the car broke down and there it sits. So how is the court dealing with people that have hit hardships, and that's why they end up in your court?
Yeah, there's two sides to that. The first one would be the civil side. We've seen a tremendous increase in the number of dispossessory action filed by landlords against tenants who've lost their job or haven't been able to get employment and aren't able to get their rent paid. And we've also seen a huge increase because of the increase in the number of foreclosures, former mortgage companies coming in and trying to put out former homeowners. And so that's increased tremendously. And you just, in that situation, the landlord and the mortgage company are going to prevail in the case most likely, but the attorneys and the landlords seem to have a good understanding that they're not trying to be unduly harsh, and they're trying to be as compassionate as they can with the tenants, but by the same token, they need to get the house either rented to someone who can pay the rent, or sold to someone else who can.
Absolutely.
So, and that's one last thing I'd say is the importance of that is always what we keep in mind efficiently to keep things moving quickly, because if a landlord files a case against a tenant that's not paying, and a lot of times this is just someone who has one rental property. We have a lot of landlords who just have one rental property or two rental properties, and if they can't get a tenant in there to pay the rent, that can pay the rent, and they can't, because of the tenant not paying
Yeah.
the rent, they can't pay their mortgage. We end up with another foreclosure, which is another piece of property that ends up being
Yes.
sold for too less money and generates fewer tax dollars, and then the circle comes around to where when I'm asking for additional funds for this or that in our budget, the answer is we don't have them, there's less, and so it's a vicious cycle if we're not careful.
Exactly. Well, we've had a chance to put you in front of the public here and to learn a little bit about you when they go to the polls on the 31st or earlier. You had a little announcement that I had completely forgotten. We have Saturday voting tomorrow.
Yes, I understand the Director of Superintendent of Elections, Deidre Holden, has opened up early voting on a Saturday, I think from 9 to 5 or 9 to 4 tomorrow at the administration building. So that's a great opportunity for all the people that are here in the county that go to Marietta or go to Atlanta to work and can't really get time off to work to early vote during the week. This is going to be an opportunity on Saturday for them to get to vote.
And who should they vote for if they go tomorrow?
If they vote for Chief Magistrate, they should vote for Martin Valbuena.
Thanks, Martin, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.